He is an undercover informant who helped bring down a violent suburban gang.
Tonight, you're going to see the videotapes he made that helped the feds make Aurora a safer place to live. Here's investigative reporter Larry Yellen. His name is Fernando Della Torre, and he's a member of the Insane Deuce street gang in Aurora. If he looks a little nervous, it's because at this moment, he's got 2 hot handguns in a plastic bag, including a 9mm gun used in a murder. Della Torre's plan, as caught on this undercover videotape, is to throw them into the Fox River. Gang member Orlando Rivera can be heard explaining why.
There's no way once you throw it in the water, there's no way they can recover the fingerprints.
You don't see Rivera on camera because he's working with police, helping with the recording. Rivera takes both weapons from Della Torre, but instead of tossing them into the river, hides them on the bank, where police later recover them and trace them back to 2 unsolved shootings.
Can you make a case like this without an informant flipping for you?
It would be very difficult. We need to have someone on the inside.
Rivera's decision to cooperate was the critical turning point in a long-time war on gang-related shootings in Aurora. The worst year was 2002.
There would be shootings, and then that just one shooting would lead to another retaliation shooting, which would lead to another shooting, which would lead to a homicide, and then it would just go back and forth. And that was the way it was in 01, 02, 03, 04. It was just back and forth like that.
The shootings were sparked by a turf battle between the Insane Deuce and the Latin Kings, both gangs wanting to control Aurora's drug trade. But there were lots of innocent victims, like David Lascano.
They drove a car that was similar to that of a Latin Kings.
Lascano belonged to a club, not a gang. It was called Cruise Away from Crime. But on a Sunday afternoon in broad daylight, an Insane Deuce mistook his car for that of a Latin King, walked up to the car, and shot him in the head.
So he's basically sitting in the wrong make of car and he gets 3 bullets in the head.
Correct.
Rivera, who often helped dispose of weapons, was frequently with shooters right after a killing, when they were most willing to open up about what they had done.
In and out, 15 minutes flat, we went in and out.
After there was a shooting or you did a order to kill someone, the shooter would be very pumped up. Almost like after an athletic competition. They're pumped up and they want to talk a lot. So it was easy for the informant to elicit incriminating conversation in great detail about who they shot, how they did it, who ordered it, where they did it, which, of course, it was very damning when it came to the actual trials.
Eventually, Rivera's cooperation led to the conviction of Fernando Della Torre and 14 other gang members, 7 of whom were sentenced to life in prison. Taking down the leadership of the Insane Deuces has not totally eliminated Aurora's gang problems, but the number of gang-related crimes, especially shootings, has dropped dramatically. In 2002, for example, Aurora had 251 gang-related shootings. There will be less than half as many this year. Even while cooperating with the feds, Rivera himself was shot 3 times.
It's one of the hazards of being an informant in these types of investigations. One of the risks we try to minimize, but kind of goes with the territory.
And speaking of territory, with the Insane Deuce leaders now off the streets, police say they're ready if another gang moves on in.
We just move to the next gang. Another gang pops up as the current problem. We just shift our focus to that gang.
Police were skeptical when Orlando Rivera first offered to cooperate, so they asked him for some inside information about a recent crime. He told them he recalled throwing a murder weapon into the Fox River and pointed them in the general location. Within 48 hours, divers had recovered that gun. Rivera is now living with a new identity. Robin and Jeff?